Good morning and welcome to another episode of Where Medicine Meets Ministry. Dr. Cherie talks faith and facts. Guys, I'm telling you, I got a great guest on today's show. Oh my goodness. This woman, Barbara Hoard, is the founder of the I Am This Woman, a show on Facebook interviewing women and their stories. And let me say, interviewing women, but she's had some men, and I'm telling you, those interviews have been powerful. They're telling stories and dreams and their passions. She also works as an executive director of the nonprofit organization A Prom to Remember, which works to help teen cancer patients have the most magical nights of their lives. She loves connecting with others and sharing stories. And I know she has plenty of where medicine meets ministry moments. So without further ado, please help me welcome to the show, Miss Barbara Hoard. Barbara, how you doing this
I
morning?
am so good. First of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. And I'm so proud of what you're doing. And, you're amazing. So this is incredible to be here.
Thank you, sweetheart. You are like the best. You have continued to show your tenacity for working through what God places on your heart in the season that He has you in. And that was one of the real reasons why I wanted to bring you to the show, because you are the epitome of someone who has a desire that's planted in their heart, a seed that settles in on their mind, and you don't let it wallow or lay there for very long. Barbara she is the queen of multitaskers, and she has the ability that once God sets something on her heart, and once He plants a seed in her mind, literally, she can begin to unfold a product, a service, a new offering. It seems like overnight, and it's like a massive undertaking, but to her, she says what she's going to do and she does it with a smile. Am I defining you accurately, Barbara?
Oh my gosh, it's so lovely. I want a plaque. I want the whole plaque. Put that on there out there. But I love that you say that. And I love, you know, um, our worship minister reached out to me because they want me to come on there online and do a devotional and talk about this. And I was like, God, what am I going to talk about? And I love that you say that, because when I'm in this journey and when I'm going through whatever it is, because I'm going to tell you like this. I don't know about you guys, but God and I have this real personal relationship. So I'm always like, Big G, like, what are you doing now?
Big G, what's up? What's going on right now?
Yeah. And it's so interesting too, because I think when you're on a journey, you're on this path. And for me, there's times when I'm thinking, I think I'm here and I'm here. And he's like, no, 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 no. You're not here. And he puts me on a different path. But I think the most important thing is that what he's placed inside of me, right? And so when I'm off my path, he just kind of, he doesn't even do a little, he like, oh, get your butt back over to that side. But I think it's been such a beautiful journey. And now in having faith and trusting in what God has for me, and really trusting in that, and trusting this brilliance that he's placed within me, is where now I'm finding myself in this season of joy. And when I say brilliance, it's scary how things come to me now, you know? And so that's where I'm at right now.
Oh, that is absolutely fabulous. Now, I want our listeners to really understand what I Am This Woman is all about. But before you tell us what it's all about, tell us how God led you even to start something like that, and where did the title come from, and what have been some of your guests and some highlights. This is like fantastic.
Yes, thank you so much. So I am this woman. I've always done women's empowerment, and I kept on stepping away from it. And then I was interviewing someone for a book, and they said, talking to you and being interviewed by you is like talking to Oprah. And I was like, ooh, ooh. And then I thought, you might never really sit down with Oprah. You might not even sit down with her guests, but I can create a space where I can have a space for women to share what they're up to. So yes, I created this and I founded I Am This Woman. But what ends up happening is that what I'm really founding is a space for women to say, This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm creating. And we do have some men on the show as well, right? As long as they're doing something that supports women. And how I Am This Woman came about is I really started to think, what is it that I want to share? What I want to share is, I am this woman when I'm having the best day. I am this woman when I'm having the worst day. I am this woman when I lose my job. I am this woman when my car gets taken away. I am this woman when I manage to get up out of bed for a week straight. I am this woman, you
Girl, that
know?
is powerful. And you know what? That reminds me of a scripture in the Bible that says, in whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as unto the Lord. And what I kept hearing when you were throwing out, I got out of bed every day this week. I had a bad day today. I had a good day today. In whatever we are doing, uh, whether or not it's a joyful experience, whether or not it's a difficult experience, what we are learning in being this woman, we are learning to do things heartily as unto the Lord. We as women have a tendency to pour ourselves into a mission, a ministry, a marriage, a moment, because of this nurturing ability that we have, this nurturing gift. And so when we pour ourselves in, there are times when we need to be refilled, fill ourselves back up, because we've given so much out. So your platform not only gives women an opportunity to pour out with what they're doing, but to pour out with the good and the bad.
Right.
But likewise, with other women watching and listening, now they can feed into that other individuals, because this is on Facebook, right?
It is. So what happens is I was going to do a podcast, and I still will, but a coach said, try it on Facebook. And I guess she thought that I wasn't comfortable putting myself out there. That's so funny. I know,
She
girl.
didn't know you.
She didn't know me well at all, because I was like, hey, everybody. And then now we just last night did show number 28. 28. We started in January, and now we're so much that we're doubling up. The last 4 weeks we've had 2 episodes every week. Yes. I'm sometimes, yes, 2 episodes a week, because we're having people who are like yesterday we had Lori McCoy come on, and she talked about, she is a doula. She created this whole organization, and then one of her topics was that when Black women are pregnant and they're getting ready to have their babies, that literally they're 5 times more likely to either die during childbirth, or both the child and the mother died during childbirth. And there's no reason, right? So her whole platform is, she wanted to come on to talk about that. So I asked her the question, in 45 days, what are you going to create? And she says, I'm going to create a program to help Black women, that if they want to be a doula, that they can do this. So it's spurring things also, and that's the thing about it, is that I Am This Woman is saying that I don't care where you've been. I don't care what you've gone through. But when you choose the day to say, I am this woman, magic happens.
Oh my goodness, girl. And see, I am hearing and seeing nothing but kingdom work in what you're talking about, right? Reminds me of another scripture, and it put God's kingdom first. First seek ye the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And so what I see you doing, and what you're helping other women do, is to do that kingdom work. That kingdom work is service. And
Right.
so your guests are coming on, and they are sharing what they are doing for others outside of themselves. So they may share what they're going through emotionally, but inevitably every guest, and I watch your show and I listen to your show, and with every guest, no matter what a particular, whether or not it was a tragedy or a trial or what have you, God has led them to spin that thing and
Yes.
make something that's messy and turn it into a mission,
Yes.
something that was miserable, and now he's turning it into their ministry.
Yes.
And so they're coming and pulling out of themselves and giving not only to their family, but to other individuals. You are helping other individuals serve one another. You must feel fantastic.
It's amazing when you decide to step into what God has planned for you. And more importantly, I make it this way. When God said, I'm making a Barbara, right? He put all this in me. And then we get into this world and we start doubts and we start thinking, because someone tells you you're not good enough. Honey, they couldn't even come close to telling me I'm not good enough. Are you kidding me? Like, who am I? I used to ask myself sometimes, like, you're doing a show, right? Now people are reaching out to me to say, when Lori was on last night, it's because her office manager reached out and said, you have a show and we believe your people need to know what's going on. So that's what's happening. I'm becoming the expert in women's empowerment. I'm becoming an expert in when women need to have a voice. So I would tell your listeners this, no matter what they might think, no matter what they've gone through, I've gone through a number of jobs, all this stuff happening. When you get clear about it, try it. If you fall and fail, good. Well, who cares? I know what to do and I know what not to do. And I am not, when I say to me next time this year, I'm having an organization. You look at my Pinterest, I've got what my office is going to look like. I just had a retreat with my team. You know, I'm not playing around. I'm not playing around. I'm
You
moving.
are not. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Okay. And your energy is completely infectious. And I did not start off by saying, let me let everybody know, you need to go back and check I Am This Woman, because I was one of her first few guests and we had a magnificent time. And I am ready for part 2
Yes.
coming up soon, hopefully sometime this fall. That's if this woman can fit me in. Oh,
Girl,
my goodness.
always. It's not even a what. There's certain guests that are like, oh, the reason why we started the second episode is because people started reaching out to me saying, I would like to be on the show. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to wait. Like, I'm booked right now for the rest of this month and for next month. We're starting to book people in August. Okay.
Unbelievable.
And so this is the other blessing. I spoke to someone yesterday and they were telling me what they want to talk about. And this is the first time I said, no, not right now. Because I'm also elevating the level of people who are coming on our show. So that was the first time that I trusted that I'm going to have August and September and October filled up, right? But now people are coming on and they have such great things that I'm like, oh, let's not wait. Here, we'll put you on Tuesday.
Oh my
So now I'm
goodness.
starting to have a Tuesday show and a Friday show.
Unbelievable. Now
Yeah.
listen, so with what you did, obviously, and I want the listeners to appreciate this, that what you did required you to put yourself out there. There was a seed that was planted, but that seed was not going to grow until you gave it some water, you gave it some fertilization, you tended to that seed. And so sometimes with people stepping out, it's like they have these grand ideas, they can map it out, but there is this fear factor with making that first step. And I love what you said about trying things, and if it doesn't work out, so what? Who cares? Right. One of the things that I tell people is you're not a failure because you try something and it doesn't work out. You fail only when you stop trying. And you have branched out and stepped out, and God has taken you from season to season. He has planted gifts and talents in you, and I have seen you in the season focus on this, boom, blossom, help thousands of people. Next, now you're on in a position where you're helping, because tens of thousands of individuals will now have an opportunity to see these videos and hear the inspirational words spoken by you and your guests. Tell our listeners what it means, one, to own your truth, and when you do that, what does that do to your fear factor and your faith factor with taking that first step and making it happen?
Yeah, and I want to make it really clear. I wake up like, oh my gosh, who do I think I am to do this every day for all about 3 seconds? And then I'm like, you know who you are, girl. You know who you are, right? So that's first and foremost. So when I have the fear, I feel it. But what's owning your truth is about is most important is this. Within each of us is a truth. You know, for me, like I look at you as you were a doctor. No, never in a million years, right? If you ask me what the southwest part of the street is, I couldn't even tell you. I'm like, tell me to go left and then go right. I'm good, right? Okay. but I'm owning who I am is because someone sent a message yesterday and said, you're such a great moderator, the questions you ask and how it flows, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I own. I own that I have this heart that just wants to give back to service and to do things. I own that I don't want to just lift myself up, but I want to lift my other sisters up as well.
You better
I
preach.
own, right, yeah, I own that I have this energy and this infectious laugh, and that people say, oh, you're like, yes, I want to get to know you. So I own all those things. So owning your truth is that within you is a truth. Within you is the gifts that you have. What I'm saying is now I'm looking at these gifts and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And what I did is this for the first 6 weeks of my show, I used to open it up like this. I know you guys are thinking, here she goes again doing women's empowerment. Guess what? Here I am again, because I'm going to keep on doing it. And then all of a sudden, I found it. So you have to keep on. It's almost like you're going shopping for shoes.
Mm-hmm.
You put all these beautiful shoes out and you're like, oh, these are cute. And then you put your foot in there and you're like, I can't walk a mile in those shoes.
Right.
You try another pair of shoes and you're like, no. And all of a sudden you're like, there it is right there. And those shoes look good. They feel good. And boy, don't you look great in them. You know, that's what it is.
And so, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that individuals, as far as owning your own truth and owning your truth, recognize and identify your talents and gifts and natural abilities. You naturally can speak to anybody, anywhere, at any time. You smile, you laugh, you are affectionate, you can raise questions, and you can talk to a 5-year-old and a 95-year-old and flip and go back and forth. That is a talent and a gift you have. And so what you've done is you've identified what they are, you've harnessed them, and then you've allowed yourself, not only through prayer, but through self-study. I'm sure you did some research. What would be the best avenue? What would be the best venue to figure out what can I do with all that I am qualified and capable of? Because we know that God will not send you out or place something on you that he has not already given you the character and the gifts to get you there and to keep you there. Right? So when you
in this.
Yes.
He's like, this is you.
Yes.
And then this is my favorite. This is you. And then we go and ask somebody else who's going to tell us, oh, well, because they don't have it.
They don't have it. They don't have it. And a lot of times we look for the acceptance or the push or the go ahead from other individuals, and they don't have the inside story. See, you and God, you got the inside story, right? So you got to step out on faith. So I'll ask you this. How would you recommend a person have faith to be their best self?
You know, I have this necklace and it has a tiny little thing, and it has a mustard seed in there. And I look at that mustard seed and I'm like, when they say, you know, like have faith that a mustard seed can move mountains, right? Big old mountain in front of you. I really realized is that I don't have to have big faith. I don't have to be, oh my gosh, I have to have all my ducks in a row. All I have to do is have the mustard seed faith. So when I tell you is that stop worrying that you have to think you have to have all things in place. It's just like when a baby takes a walk, they take the first step. So what I say is have faith to take the first step. And you might fall, or you might just sit there for a minute. And even in the sitting, you learn and you grow. So it's that way. It's the mustard seed of faith, and it's the minutes within the moments. I always say that. You look at the moment, but within those moments are minutes.
Yes.
Those are the things that you remember. You might not remember everything, but you'll remember that one little thing. Focus in on that. It's the smallest little thing, and then say, you know what? I took the first step. Let me take another one.
Exactly.
And let me take another one.
Exactly. Oh my God. And see, I hear that, and I think of the individuals that I have coached in the past, and one or two currently. There is this fear factor that I'm working with them, because they want to see the whole picture. And they want to see the end result. And if we look at Christ as an example, and if we bring it to let's look at our parents or another role model that you have. I can assure you, there is no one that has done something great that has the entire picture. It is
Right.
impossible. So there comes gets to a place where you need to trust. You need to trust the gifts and talents that lie in you, and you need to trust the God that you serve, because he is more interested in changing you than your circumstances. And so if you can see from point A to point Z, and you can map it all out and everything is worked all out, I mean, what do you need him for?
What do
And
you
this
need
is
them?
right. And he's about building and desiring a relationship with us.
Yes.
Just like you and I, we work off our relationship. You've been a blessing to me. I've been a blessing to you. That's what we're here for. When you're
Correct.
born and placed on this earth, here for service, within that service is relationships. And I can't build a relationship if I can figure out everything on my own. Then what use do I have for other people?
Right.
Or sometimes if you can figure out everything on your own, you may feel like you can manipulate people. But what God wants us to do is to learn how to trust and surrender to him and to his will and to the talents and gifts that he's placed in you. And then he wants you to use that mustard seed faith, and take a step. Because until you take a step, it's just like going, let's say you're walking up the stairs in the dark and it's a new place where you haven't been, right? Okay. You take a step, but now you realize, oh, there's another step. But I didn't know that other step was there until I took that first one, right? And so now you can either feel around and see where you're going, or you can actually visibly see the steps. So now you can proactively do what you need to do to get to that next step.
Yeah.
So I love what you say about taking that next step.
Yeah, and I would say this is the one thing that I noticed, and especially within women. The reason why I wanted to create I'm This Woman also is because I saw a lot of women's programs where they were like this. Here's me, Barbara Hoard, right?
Yes.
And come to me and I'm going to tell you everything and I will do this and I will do this. Boo. I don't know everything. I don't. So what I do is I'm like, what would happen if we go together? That sometimes you might have taken the steps. So what you've done is you've lit my path, right? When I had Josh, who is a vice mayor of one of the cities down here in Florida, on the show, it's because
wait. You had who?
So this is so cool.
Take a step back. You just kind of mentioned a major political figure. Oh yeah, I want to have him on the show.
What's really cool? So I went to an event that you invited me to, right? So you had already lit the path, and at first I wasn't gonna go. But you were cool about it. And I was like, no, I'm going to go. She wasn't that cool about it, guys, but that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes Dr. Cherie has a way of going, like, when your mama kind of grabs you and like, stop. Like you're in church and you're talking and she looks over at you with that look. Yeah. So I went ahead and I was like, I was wrong. I should go. So I meet this gentleman, right? And Dr. Cherie's like, Barbara's this and she's that. And then he reaches out to me to say, I want to be on your show. He's the vice mayor of Coconut Creek in Florida, but he's running for Broward County state attorney. And he wanted to come on the show to talk about women in the correctional institutions, especially women of color. So because you made that path, I was able to meet him. Not only did I meet him, but the organizer of the event we're getting ready to do a partnership. So the difference is this. We're not here to just pull ourselves up and stand and say, look at me. Because if you think you get before God and you say, look at what I did, you know what he's going to ask you? That's great, but turn around. What did you do for all of them?
There you go. Bam.
And if you don't say, like to me, I can easily say, when Dr. Cherie says, hey, I've got a show, you know what? I'm here.
Correct.
Well, that's what we do for each other. And you don't have to see them every day.
No.
But this is what we do.
Exactly. See,
that's the difference.
That is the difference. There is something about when, again, this is relationships. So, and I try to explain to young individuals when I'm counseling with the youth that there is a difference between an association and a relationship. And so you may associate with certain people, but you're not in a relationship with them. So that association may be based on, I see him every day at work, you know, or we're part of the same book club, or we're part of the same wine club or whatever, but you haven't, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've developed a relationship with them. And so now when I develop a relationship with someone, like you said, I don't have to see him every day. I don't have to talk to him every day. I can check in every now and then, but they're on my mind and they're in my heart, so that when an opportunity opens up that I see and believe would be a great opportunity for them, or if it's something that I need their services with, when you have that relationship, you can reach out to that person. I haven't talked to that person in the last 3-4 months, but whatever she or he is asking for, I'm going to entertain it, and I'll be that for that individual because of the relationship. And again, God is the same way. And so we need to also own the truth of developing a relationship with God so that you can now come into your full purpose. Because a lot of times individuals may recognize their gifts and talents, but what is the proper expression of those? They're at a loss. And so if you just now go to God for just that one thing, you may not be receptive to his answer, because how do you even hear and understand his voice and how he communicates with you if you haven't developed that relationship? And so it's real important. And when I say relationship, to everyone that's listening, this is not about a Christian faith, Buddhist faith, Hindu faith, Muslim faith. I am talking about having faith in the God that you serve, whether you refer to him as a higher power, but you need to own that we were made to have a spiritual relationship with a force that loves us, wants nothing but the best for us, appreciates that we are born into a sinful world and bad stuff is going to happen. But we need to trust this source that, because of my relationship with you and because of my motives in being pure, wanting to serve, do the right thing, be right, do right, that I'm going to be okay. Not that things are going to be perfect, and not that no bad things will ever happen to me. They will until the day you die. But you can have the peace and the assurance that I will be all right.
And I think what really helps me with that is that when I look back on my path and I look at some of the things that have happened, it's made me so much better when I'm interviewing someone and talking to someone, because I get it. And so the reason why I am this woman is come about is because I'm really realizing that I am this woman and I want a space for other women. So I am so grateful for the jobs that I've lost and the relationships and all of those things, because I am this woman. And now I own it with such pride. Like, I own this and I honor myself and I honor my truth. So that's why I am this woman is such a part of me. You want to create something, look within you. I look at the last 6 years of my life. That's why I am this woman here. I look at my mother leaving. That's why I am this woman here. I look at the relationships I've been through, all of that. That's why. It's because I want to, not saying that you're not going to have them, but at least if you do have them, honey, I can help you out along the way, you know?
So no matter what you have just stated, that your life experiences have made you this woman. And this woman is doing her thing, blessing other individuals, waking up with joy and excitement, like, who am I interviewing today? Who's going to be on my show on Friday? With purpose. You're living a life with purpose, despite the bad relationships, the deaths in the family, the loss of jobs. I love how you said, okay, I'm grateful for that, because that has led to me being who I am today. And I am owning the power, the truth, the magnificence, and the empowerment ability that God has given me because of all of these life lessons.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they go into, this has happened, so I can't be this. And I'm saying, this has happened, so I'm ultimately this. You know, it's just we so focused, you have to be so careful because words mean so much.
Oh
So
my
you can
goodness.
convince yourself that you're not worthy. Huh? I look at it this way. I'm like, God knew how strong I was. He's like, oh, don't worry. I got you. I know you're strong. So I know you're going to go through something, but I know I'm putting you through it because when you meet that woman, she's going to be able to say, you know what? I am this woman because I see you work. You went through this, don't worry. You know what? You can say, I'm this woman. And one of the things I love is that at the end of the show, I always ask them to say their name and say, I am this woman. I even have men saying it now because they're like, I want to say it because I want to honor the women in my life.
Oh my
And
goodness.
say that. When you say, like, I am Barbara and I am this woman, it's like, wait a minute. So I'm this woman no matter what. Yes. All of a sudden, you say, you know what? I'm owning this. That's owning your truth. Only you are this woman no matter what.
Wow. And I love what you said when you said your words have power.
Yes.
And I stress the same thing when I'm talking to individuals because when you, especially when you speak those words out, those words are now out there. They become a physical reality. You've placed them out there and now you've spoken it and now you've heard yourself speak those words. Hearing those words now places a thought on your mind. And we know how your thoughts can turn into action
Right.
because your thoughts end up creating feelings. And based on these feelings, that's how you act. And so if you have powerful words like, I am this woman, I own this, I
Right.
can do this, those are the words that you're hearing back out of your own mouth to yourself, focusing on those thoughts. Those thoughts now create empowered feelings. Those words now evoke feelings of assurity, of power. And so now your actions are based off of those powerful thoughts, those positive thoughts. And that's what people mean when they say, be careful about what you think, and sometimes people will say, oh, okay, well, just because I think it, don't mean it's going to happen. Okay, well, here's the deal. We're not just talking about, I think I'm a millionaire.
Right.
And then just sitting here and ain't doing nothing. Okay, so if you say, as a millennial, I decree and I declare that by the time I'm 50 years old, God has placed on me that I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm going to bless this individual and I'm going to have this nonprofit and I'm going to have this and this and that and the other. You feel that, own it, but
Yes.
it's not just the words. Words have to be followed with actions. And so if they are true and embedded in you, you will act upon that to get you to where you need to
Right.
go.
It's this way. It's such a simple thing. Okay. You think about a word and then you think about work. Okay.
Yes.
And that's the difference is that we're so sometimes focused on, oh, well, I'm just going to think it. I'm going to think it. Like, guess what? Imagine if Jesus would have been like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here. You bring the people to me. You do this. No, Jesus. Okay. Hold on. Let's be real here.
Exactly.
You're talking about the Son of God. The Son of God did this. And then when he knows he could have blew up the whole place, he let them beat him, put him on a cross.
Hello.
I don't know how heavy your cross is, but it's never as heavy as his.
No.
Never. So how I look at it is that you have word or you have work, right?
Yes.
And when you think about W-O-R-D, right, or W-O-R-K, it is one letter different.
One letter.
One letter. So then what I'm trying to understand is that you think you're going to get something for nothing. I work a full-time job as an executive director. I am doing consulting work also for a marketing company, right?
Wow.
And I'm building this business.
Wow.
So you can't tell me. There's times when I want to do nothing,
Mm-hmm.
but I know that when I want this, I have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that it's just going to come to me. So put the words in there and then follow it up with the work. And when you do, watch what happens. I look at now people coming to me. I look at the shows. I look at everything. I know it's just going to be a matter of time. I'm going to have someone on there and people are going to go, oh, how did you get them? Because I'm doing the work.
There you
I'm
go.
not just speaking the word. I'm not just saying I am this woman.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing I am this woman. So I am being it in such a way that it embodies me. So it attracts.
Yes.
That's what it is. Like I am this woman is like tattooed all over. So they're like, oh, wait a minute, what is that? Mm-hmm. And when you have that, that's that glow. That's like God saying, yep, my child is standing up and my child has said, yes, this is who I am through his eyes. That's what it is.
Woo, girl, oh my goodness. Oh, I'm telling you, those of you that are listening to this podcast, I'm sure if you have the opportunity to take notes, you are writing notes feverishly because Barbara has pumped out some truths and quotes that I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely gonna go back and I'm gonna look at them. I'm gonna put them in some of my speaking engagements, and I'm gonna give you credit for it. But I
I'll
am gonna
take it.
use some. I'm gonna use some because, especially the word and the work, that one letter off, because people can speak it, and like I said, speak your truth and speak a positive truth.
Right.
I ain't focusing on no negative stuff. Speak that positive truth, and like we were stating, the gifts and talents that are in you, there is something that bubbles over on the inside that gives you that push. Don't be hindered by that fear of taking that first step, because faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But also faith without works is dead. And so if you speak that word, and but then you don't follow it up with work, even the Bible tells you your faith without works is dead. So you can say whatever you want. You can profess you have faith that I'm going to be this millionaire. You can profess that, this time next year, I have an organization based off of I am this woman. You can say that, but if you don't do the works, babe, don't blame God. It ain't his fault. Look in the mirror and figure out, I had this powerful truth lying inside of me, deep inside of me, and I'm waiting for someone to come and knock on my door. I'm waiting for someone to send me an email and ask me this. But you have to take that first step because God is not going to do what you can do, only what you can't.
Right, exactly. And if you think, a lot of people are like, well, I'm this old, or I'm this, or I'm that. Let me tell you something here. I am next month turning 53, okay?
That's what 53 look like.
Girl, oh yeah, look at that. That's scary. This is 53.
Oh, not a wrinkle nowhere. Smooth, beautiful. I mean, look, there's like no folds, no, unbelievable. Yes, hunty, yes.
So a lot of people say, well, I can't do this because I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that, and they want to go safe, okay? This world is full of safety. And then, like, when I interviewed a woman yesterday to be on the show, she's like, I'm doing this. And I'm like, okay, I like your story. I said, so what are you doing with it? She goes, well, COVID-19 is me in the house. Oh, okay. And then I said, okay, so you're doing something online. Well. And she was humming. No, COVID-19 had me in the house also, but COVID-19 has me working a job, consulting, doing all this. And I'm still, because sometimes God puts these little roadblocks and he's like, and I love it too. It's a roadblock, but it's like a hurdle, right? Now you see the runners, they jump over the hurdle. This hurdle is so small. All you have to do is, it's like jumping a broom. You go lift up and you're down and you're over it.
Exactly.
But what we do is we think it's the biggest hurdle known to man, and I can't. But until you see that hurdle, until you look and say, oh, this is not that bad. And understand this, when you jump, just in case if it is a little bit taller, God's like, oh, wait a minute. So you thought the hurdle was 3 feet, but it's really 6. Don't worry, boo. I got the other 3 for you.
Bam.
Right? And then he takes you over that.
There you go. You go. Because again, we're not stating that things are going to go smooth. I know for me, I'm a professional speaker. So, with COVID, all of my speaking engagements got canceled except for one. One was able to flip on a dime and do it virtually. And so, yes, has that impacted me as far as my income is concerned? Absolutely, no doubt about it. But you know what I did during this time? I used this time to launch my podcast, and it was perfectly done. When I say perfectly done, I meant perfectly done in the sense that God gave me this time, this season, with the mindset to go ahead and launch it. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I'm telling everybody out there now, my website, I want to make it more beautiful. But one thing that I was not going to do was to hold off until everything was in place and in order for me to launch, because people need to hear the message. So I use this opportunity to launch the podcast, but I also use this opportunity to become a certified virtual speaker. And so now, I was already a certified speaking professional. I shared this with you. That's the
Mhm.
highest designation that the National Speakers Association awards. Less than 600 people in the world with that. But now that I can't do that face to face, well, then what can I offer event planners and other individuals? What is going to allow me to stand out and stand
Right.
apart from everybody else? So I use this opportunity to become a certified virtual speaker. And now I have that extra certification, that extra badge
Mhm.
that will at least cause me to stand out. And now that too, because that went out, has now opened up other opportunities.
There
So
you are.
again, don't just be don't just sit in a place of no activity at all, when you know that there is something inside you that needs to be shared. And
Right.
I don't care if, Barbara and I are in a place where we're able to do this to larger audiences. There's some people that are just afraid of talking in front of a camera, even if somebody is going to look at it later. They're afraid of talking on a radio show because they're concerned about saying the wrong words or things of
Right.
that nature. You may have a gift of writing, and maybe you just can spit some stuff out there, some spoken word or some words of inspiration in just a couple of paragraphs, and you already have books written because it would just flow and you'd write it. Okay, get out there and start a
Right.
blog, baby. Nobody has to see you, nobody has to hear you, but your words are powerful, and it's
Exactly.
so easy to do. Many of these sites are free. Maybe you're hosting the site, it's $9.99 a month. Okay, well, you say, well, I don't even have the $9.99 a month. Well, maybe you'll structure it. If this is a service thing, maybe structure it under a nonprofit. Maybe this is my way of giving back, and I'm going to give back to a certain group of individuals because that's the way my writing goes.
Right.
Create a nonprofit, and guess what? There's money out there that for nonprofits to have something like that.
Uh-huh.
So you just have to do the work, the investigative work, to allow you to be in a position to share the gifts and talents that God has given you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I would say this, it's so interesting that when I let go and I really said, okay, I'm stepping in and I'm trusting, I'm having that faith, the consulting job came, which when you do consulting work, they pay you like sometimes I laugh at what they're paying me, right? Because I'm like, you're like, I'm making this much money and it's legal, right? So I'm making money. But what it
Okay.
allowed me to do was to start I Am This Woman, was to be able to, when I hiring someone to build my website or doing those things. So all of a sudden, like the consulting job came along. I started I Am This Woman at the beginning of January. The
Mhm.
consulting job came along at the beginning of February.
No way.
And then they extended it. They just extended it another 3 months. Okay. And so that's the thing. When you think like, well, I don't have it, stop worrying about, because I'm gonna tell you like this. If it's $9.95, I bet, I bet you could find the $10. And I
Bet you.
know this because you can. I always say it this way. I always tell when I'm talking to guys and I'm dating,
Mhm.
and I say, you know what, they're like, oh, I was busy to call. And I said, if you were going to get $5,000 to pick up that phone to call me, would you? Well, yeah. I said, you do what's important to you.
Absolutely. We
That's the
always
difference.
find the time for the things that matter most to us.
Yes.
Always.
And when you put
Always.
it out there, watch God bring. He says, I've always heard this, like, put it out there because he'll give it to you. The consulting job allowed me, we're not talking about a few $100s extra a month. We're talking about thousands extra a month. Now my savings account is beautiful. Sometimes I just look at it because I go, really? I have the money to build my stuff.
There you
I
go.
had the money to take my team on this beautiful retreat this past weekend.
Oh,
So what happens is when you trust with that mustard seed and you take that step out, when you're thinking you take the step out and you're going to fall, he just puts another board out there. He said, keep on stepping.
there
Because the
you
more you step, the more I show you what I'm capable of doing. And so he put that out there for me. And when I gave up my beautiful apartment and I moved in and I'm renting a room, right?
go.
So sometimes I think, oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. I'm an adult, I'm renting a room. No, because now I have that money to build my business.
There you go. Doing what's necessary to
Yeah,
grow what God has given you.
do
Now,
it.
Barbara, I cannot believe we have been chit-chatting for about 45 minutes already. And you and I, we have this problem every time. I'm telling you, every time I get together and go out with Barbara and we have dinner or something, it's always minimum set aside,
Hours.
minimum 2 hours minimum. Just put it on the calendar. If we can't do 2 hours, we can't do it because we don't know how to shut up. But Barbara Hoard of I Am This Woman, you can find her on Facebook. She now has shows Tuesday and Friday. And
Tuesday and Fridays.
Tuesday and Friday, you gotta find her, and you have to listen to these shows because they are truly, truly empowering women and men, telling not only stories but telling of programs and services that they offer that just might be the blessing that you're looking for. So, Barbara, before we end today's show, is there anything that you would like to tell our
Yeah.
guests? How can they reach you? Let us know.
For sure. So my email is Barbara, Barbara, at IamThisWoman.com. And if you have a story to share and something to do, please send me an email. We'll get together. We'll talk about it and see if you're a great person to be on the show. And I would just tell you this, is that no matter what you're going through, have faith. I promise you, take the first step. He's literally standing right next to you, waiting for you to take the step. Trust in yourself, and most importantly, own your truth. Own your truth.
I can't say anything better than that. So all I can say is thank you for tuning in. Until next time.